Hello, thank you for clicking on my video. My first video on this channel was a breakdown of the trailer for the second half of Helluva Boss's second season, and I promised myself that I was gonna do another breakdown with new theories after Apology Tour came out. So now I'm making that video. I'm gonna talk about how my theories have changed now that we have the context of the full moon and Apology Tour and know which clips from the trailer belong in those episodes. We still have over half the trailer left, so there's plenty for me to dive into in this video, so let's get into it. First, I just wanted to gush over the fact that we are getting a short for each of the month there won't be an episode in. That is July, August, and September, so yay for that. As far as I know, the shorts will feature at least one member of the main cast in a little episodic adventure that is more reminiscent of what the show originally would have been. And I hope the focus will be on Luna, Millie, and Moxie in those shorts, because I feel like Apology Tour leaves Blitz off in such a perfect place that kind of has to be carried over by a full-length episode. I feel like it would cheapen it a little bit if we have to go from the utter defeat of seeing the whole party thing and thinking he's lost Stolas, and then he just goes on a quirky little adventure in a 5-minute short. And honestly, Luna and the M&Ms deserve a lot more spotlight. They haven't really gotten enough in season 2, especially Luna, so I mean, she could have 2 shorts. Just to give her something. But it's also a question of how the structure will be in the shorts, because so far we only have Hell's Bells, and of course we have a conflict between Millie and Sally Mae. But the question is if that's gonna be a standard in the shorts, that all of them have to have like a little moment that needs to be solved, or if they can just be fun little side quests that don't have to have too much weight. Alright, so for the actual episodes. Of course, next up is Ghostfuckers, which is coming out in October, and I'm really excited for that episode. I still think it's going to be the Truth Seekers of Season 2. It's going to hit really hard, really get into Blitz's psyche, his past, and a lot more of how he became the person he is now. This is why I would prefer for Blitz not to be in the shorts, because I think if he goes from the ending of Apology Tour, a real low point in his life, and has to confront this demon that appears to feed off of trauma and forces its victims to relive a lot of their trauma, it would make a lot of sense why Blitz would be so vulnerable at this point. And yes, John Waters' character appears to be this possessor demon who feeds off of the trauma of his victims. And how cool is it they got John Waters to be in the show? I mean, queer icon for the queer show. Anyway, the plot for the episode seems fairly obvious based on the trailer. We have Blitz and Millie going on a mission at this hotel. They're pretending to be ghost hunters, probably because a client of theirs was killed by something they assume to be a ghost, and Blitz isn't taking the mission seriously, probably because he doesn't believe in ghosts, or maybe because he actually knows that ghosts aren't real because the sinners go to hell. But Blitz gets possessed while at the hotel, and he has to relive his trauma. We see how he has these flashbacks to the fire and Fizz and Veronica at Ozzy's, the night that his and Stolas' relationship first took a major hit. And I am expecting we see a lot of flashbacks here that will also feature the events of the full moon and Apology Tour. I would love it if we got to see the end of Western Energy from Blitz's perspective. Like, what was he about to write in that text message that he then couldn't bring himself to send? I also know that there were some people who were a bit disappointed that we didn't get to see the breakup between Blitz and Veronica in Apology Tour. We just have Veronica narrated. I wonder if we're gonna get a flashback to that in this episode to sort of see Blitz being confronted with all of the shitty things he's done. And after he gets possessed, Millie has to fight him. And based on this clip, I think we will probably get some parallels between this fight and the first time Blitz and Millie met. I really looked close at this clip, and I have this inkling that they're either on a dock or on a boat. We can see the roof here is a tarp and the windows are round. So I'm thinking it's either in the greed ring or maybe it's actually in the envy ring, which would be really interesting to finally see. I think Millie is the first member of Blitz's found family he met. Based on her clothes here, it looks as if she is fresh off the farm. We can see she's wearing chaps over what looks like a pair of jeans. So she may just be a new adult and she's out trying to find her way in the world. I also love her little vest. It's cute. And Blitz is wearing a leather jacket. And he is wearing his mother's necklace as a belt buckle instead. We know from seeing stars when he adopted Luna, he wore his suit. So this might be before that. I think they're both in sort of a rough place in their lives. Maybe they're each in a gang, or maybe they're working for rival businesses. But it looks like a worse time in their respective lives than what we know from the series. Based on what we know about Blitz with his relationship with Luna and his relationship with Moxie, I think we're probably looking at another situation where Blitz helps Millie out of whatever life she's in that she's not happy with, and that's why she is so grateful to him and sticks by him just as Luna and Moxie do. Either way, I'm just happy to finally learn more about Millie as a character, and I feel like there are a few little puzzle pieces to Blitz's past that I'm still missing. I wonder if we ever get to learn how he became an assassin, because he probably didn't learn those skills in the circus. I wouldn't be surprised if the way they defeat the villain is through Millie talking to Blitz about the positive effect he's had on her life and also on Luna and Moxie's lives. Because after Apology Tour, we have Blitz set up as this complete villain who just does nothing but harm to the people around him, and that's not a healthy mindset for him to have. And we know that Stolas views him as someone who helped him become liberated, so Blitz also needs to take responsibility for his actual faults and stop blaming himself for things he is not guilty of. I've heard this rumor that Satan has been confirmed to appear in the episode, but I haven't been able to find a source for said information. It got me a little worried because I figured that meant that these scenes which feature the Sins and the Goetia would be from Ghostfuckers. But I hold out hope that Satan could appear in the form of a flashback. Maybe Blitz had an encounter with him previously. I don't mean in the whole theory that Blitz has a former royal lover and that's Satan, because, I mean, Blitz has game, but does he have that game? I don't think so. It would just feel a little overstuffed that the episode which features Blitz's complete mental annihilation and John Waters' guest appearance will also be the episode that introduces Satan as well as several new members of the Goetia, including Vasago, meaning that all three new names as mentioned in the trailer would be from the very same episode. And I mean, we know from the full moon that it's not impossible for this show to take two plot lines that seem so very different from each other and not at all from the same episode and then put them together. But what I can say for that at least is that the cherubs were still attached to Blitz's story of exploring the Lust Ring. So would the Sins and the Goetia have this giant meeting while Blitz is playing Ghostbusters? That just seems a little too disconnected for my taste. So Fingers crossed it is a different appearance from Satan. And now for the episode I was most wrong about in my original video, Mastermind. I theorized that this was going to be the episode that saw the team up between the cherubs and the dorks, and obviously that's not what happens, so now I had to change my theories. So this time really paying attention to the title, I think Mastermind and Sinsmith are gonna function as a sort of two-part series finale, but where Mastermind is the episode where shit really hits the fan and we have a whole new status quo moving forward, and Sinsmith is then sort of the soft ending where we begin to deal with the aftermath of Mastermind. I imagine Andrelphis is the titular mastermind and that he will try to implement his plan from Western Energy to make sure that Stella and himself get all of Stolas' stuff. And at first I figured he was gonna use this apparent meeting between the Sins and the Goetia to sabotage Stolas in a social way by turning the others against him, reminding them that he's shirked his duties and that he's betrayed the Goetia family by cheating on Stella with an imp of all creatures. But the fact that Stolas is absent from this meeting apparently, or is at the very least late, got me thinking that maybe the scene where Andrelphis apparently attacks Stolas and Blitz defends him, it could be the actual plan. Because if Stolas shows up to this meeting with the extended family and tells them that the reason why he was in the hospital just a few months ago was because he was savagely attacked by a bounty hunter hired by Stella, who has access to angelic weaponry which could kill not only Stolas but could kill everyone, that would not be very good for Stella's case, I assume, because murder doesn't seem to be that big a deal in general, but with the media coverage surrounding Stolas' hospitalization, it seems to be a big deal when it happens to someone important. So Andrelphis would probably not want Stolas to tell the others about this, and therefore I imagine he would decide to attack Stolas and then kidnap him. But for whatever reason, Blitz is there to defend Stolas. So after Andrelphis attacks them, I think he incapacitates Blitz just long enough to kidnap Stolas, and then Blitz and probably IMP have to go and look for Stolas and rescue him. And at this point, Stolas would probably be so exhausted about the divorce and his life in general that he would be a lot more susceptible to just give up his possessions to Stella to get it over with. He would ultimately have to show up at the meeting. He is clearly wanted there, and he has a lot to answer for not doing his duties properly for months now. I just can't shake this feeling that Stolas is going to lose his palace, be it because he runs away, or he's dethroned, or he loses it in a divorce court. He's going to have to face the reality of his privileged upbringing, and Blitz is going to be more than willing to be there and support him so that he can be of use again. In my first video, I was really pessimistic about the future of the relationship between Blitz and Stolas, but now after Apology Tour, I am really optimistic because it's really clear that the only thing that's really standing in the way of them having an actual mature adult conversation is for Blitz to just tell Stolas that he cares about him. And I feel like that's something that is definitely going to happen now, because Blitz knows that he does care, he has feelings, he got really jealous of seeing Stolas about to dance with this incubus, doesn't want to lose him, and he actually wants to be everything that Stolas wants in a partner, and he wants to have that kind of relationship for himself as well. But no matter what happens, I feel like it's important for the story that Stolas finds out how Blitz really lives. He has no idea that Blitz lives in a one-bedroom apartment where he doesn't even have the bedroom but has to sleep on the couch because his 22-year-old daughter has to live with him. It's a necessary plot point because Stolas is not self-aware enough to realize that his social standing as a prince is above that of the very low working class that Blitz belongs to, and Blitz is not smart enough to tell Stolas how his situation is in a meaningful way that would resonate with him. I think Octavia's line in the trailer where she accuses Stolas of not loving her and only loving Blitz could be another motivating factor for Stolas potentially to give up his position, or at least give up his palace, because I'm not sure he can actually give up his duties with the grimoire, and Octavia's not fully trained. But the sad thing is that Via is going to feel abandoned by her father, and she's going to be a lot more susceptible to the influence of her mother and her uncle. I know that there's a pervasive fan theory that Stella and Andrelphis are conspiring to murder both Stolas and Via so that they can get everything, but I don't think so, because so much of Stella's status is tied to her role as a wife and mother, and now she's lost the wife part. So I think she's going to be a lot more interested in having a good relationship with her daughter so that she can manipulate her and control her actions. And I will say this for Andrelphis, he doesn't strike me as a niece murderer. At this point, the most confusing clips to me are the hooded figures, the missile flying towards IMP, and IMP going on the run in their van. I feel like they could be connected somehow, like the hooded figures are some kind of order or representatives of a type of law enforcement who would come after IMP because they've been illegally traveling to Earth. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they would be using a missile, but I wonder if it's gonna damage the building with the crew inside of it. I don't think they're actually going on the run in the show, though. It would be very interesting, but I just feel like this clip is there because it's funny and not because it's a whole new adventure. Alright, so that's a wrap for my theories this time around. Some of them changed a lot, and some of them changed a little, and some of them went out the window completely. But I feel like I got a decent amount right in my original video, so I'm confident I'm not completely wrong. Either way, I'm just excited to see what happens next, because I really love this show. I've only been a fan for 3 months, and I have honestly been a lot happier in those 3 months than I've been in a long time. So thank you for Helluva Boss, and thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please like, and if you have any theories to share, please comment them below and comment on my theories if you think they're right or if you think they're really, really wrong. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you want to watch another video in the future. I'll be making more. Bye!